Africa is poor. That's what you've been told. That's what the media show. But the richest man who has ever lived was African. His name was Mansa Musa. When he passed through Egypt on his journey to Mecca, he gave away so much gold. The value of gold collapsed for years. One man, one journey, one empire the world tried to forget. And today, we dig it up. Before we talk about Mansa Musa, I need to show you where he came from. Because most people think of Mali today and they think of a small poor country in West Africa. But the Mali Empire of the 1300s, completely different story. The Mali Empire stretched across more than 400 cities, covering what is today Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Northern Ghana, Mauritania, and beyond. It was one of the largest empires on earth at that time, and it sat on something that the entire world was desperate for: gold. Not just a little gold, not just some gold. The Mali Empire controlled more than half of the world's entire gold supply. Every coin in Europe, every piece of jewelry in the Middle East, most of it traced back to Mali's gold mines. And on top of that, Mali controlled the salt trade across the Sahara. Salt was as valuable as gold back then. You needed to preserve food to survive, and Mali had more of it than anyone. So picture this: an empire sitting on top of world's gold and world's salt supply, with trade routes connecting Africa to the Middle East, to Europe, and to Asia. That's the empire Mansa Musa inherited when he became king in 1312. And what he did with it is one of the greatest stories never told. Now here's something crazy that most people don't know about Mansa Musa, even became king. Before him, the ruler of Mali was a man named Abubakar II. And Abubakar II had a question that nobody could answer. What is on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean? This was 1311. Columbus hadn't sailed yet. Nobody in the world knew what was across that water. But Abubakar II was obsessed with finding out. So he built 2,000 ships. 2,000 ships. He filled them with men, food, water, and supplies. He put himself on one of those ships. He told Mansa Musa, "You rule until I come back." That's what he told Mansa Musa, and he still went into that Atlantic Ocean. He never came back. Nobody came back. 2,000 ships were gone. What happened to them? Nobody knows to this day. Some historians believe they may have reached the Americas nearly 2,000 years before Columbus. But what we do know is this: Mansa Musa waited and waited and waited. And when it became clear that Abubakar II was never returning, Mansa Musa became Emperor of Mali, and he was about to make the entire world notice. Let me try to explain how this guy actually was. And I say try, yes, because modern economists have literally given up trying to calculate it. They said his wealth is incalculable, incomprehensible, beyond any number we can put on it. But some have tried anyway. The best estimate puts his net worth around $400 billion in today's money. $400 billion. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is worth around $200 billion. Mansa Musa was worth twice. Elon Musk, currently the richest man alive, is worth around $300 billion. Mansa Musa was richer, and those are just the estimates. The real number could be much higher. So where did all this wealth come from? Simple. Mali controlled the gold, Mali controlled the salt, and Mansa Musa taxed everything, every piece of gold mine in the empire. A portion went to him. Every caravan crossing through Mali with trade goods tax. Every city he conquered tax. Day after day, year after year, for 25 years of his reign, the gold poured in and piled up until Mansa Musa became something the world had never seen before. And then in 1324, he decided to leave his house. Mansa Musa was a Muslim, a devout one, and every Muslim who can afford it is supposed to make a pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in their whole life. It's called the Hajj. Now, when normal person does the Hajj, they pack back, they travel, they pray, and then come back home. And when Mansa Musa did the Hajj, he took 60,000 people with him. 60,000 people. Let me paint this picture for you. At the front of this procession, 500 personal servants, each one wearing silk imported from Asia, each one carrying golden star weighing almost 2 kilograms. Behind them, soldiers, officials, doctors, teachers, boys, historians, then 80 camels, each one carrying between 50 and 300 pounds of gold dust. Then the emperor himself riding on horseback, surrounded by his royal guard. And behind him, thousands more, all fed and clothes and paid for by Mansa Musa personally. this procession so far that you couldn't see the beginning from the end. They traveled from Mali across the Sahara Desert through North Africa to Egypt and then to Mecca, a journey of 4,000 miles. And everywhere they went, Mansa Musa gave. He built mosques in every city he passed through. Every Friday, a new mosque built and paid for on the spot. He gave gold to the poor on the streets. He gave gifts to every ruler he met. He handed out gold like it was nothing, because to him it basically was. Now let me tell you what happened in Cairo, because this is where the story gets truly insane. When Mansa Musa and his 60,000 person procession arrived at the outskirts of Cairo, they camped for 3 days by the pyramids of Giza. Just camped there like it was nothing next to the pyramids. Then they crossed the Nile into Cairo. The Egyptian Sultan Al-Nasser Muhammad invited Mansa Musa to his palace. Now, in Egyptian royal protocol, when you meet the Sultan, you bow down, you kiss his feet. Mansa Musa refused. He said, "I only bow to God." The whole room went silent. Nobody refused the Sultan, but Mansa Musa stood firm. Eventually, he agreed to greet the Sultan respectfully, but on his own terms. And the Sultan, impressed beyond words, welcomed him anyway. Then Mansa Musa and his entire procession spent 3 months in Cairo. 3 months, 60,000 people, eating, spending, trading, giving gold to everyone they met. And here's what happened. So much gold flooded into Cairo's market that the value of gold collapsed. Gold became so common so fast that prices across Egypt went crazy. Merchants who had made their living trading gold were suddenly ruined. The entire economy of Egypt, one of the most powerful economies in the world at that time, went into crisis. The gold market in Egypt and the wider Middle East took 12 years to recover. 12 years from 1 month's 3 months visit. And this is the craziest part, because Mansa Musa didn't even need to do it. He was just being himself, generous, warm, and giving. He crashed an entire economy by accident because he was too generous. When he found out what he had done on his way back from Mecca, he actually tried to fix it. He borrowed as much gold as he could, trying to reduce the supply and bring the price back. It didn't work, the damage was done. But Egypt, despite everything, still sank its braces for generations. When Mansa Musa returned to Mali from his pilgrimage, he came back different. He has seen the great cities of the Islamic world, the schools, the architecture, the libraries, and he decided Mali will have all of that and more. He brought back architects from the Arab world, the most famous being a Spanish Arab architect named Abu Ishaq al-Sahih, and together they built the Djibouti mosque in Timbuktu, a magnificent structure of mud brick and timber that has stood for over 700 years and still standing today. They built the University of Sankore in Timbuktu. Now stop for a second and think about that. An African university built in 1300s. At peak, the University of Sankore had 25,000 students. 25,000 students studying astronomy, mathematics, medicine, history, law, and theology in Timbuktu in 1300. While Europe was still recovering from the Black Death, while European universities were just beginning to fall, Timbuktu became the intellectual capital of the medieval world. Scholars from Egypt, from Arabia, from Persia came to Timbuktu to study and teach. The city had over 150 schools and at one point, more books than any other city on earth. Books in Timbuktu, in Africa, in 1300s. Bro, this is what they didn't even teach us in school. Word of Mansa Musa's wealth traveled fast. Arab historians wrote about him in detail. The travelers told stories, the legend grew, and by 1375, Europe knew his name. In that year, a famous medieval map called the Catalan Atlas was made in Spain. It was one of the most important navigational maps on the medieval world, and right there in the middle of West Africa was a drawing of Mansa Musa seated on a golden throne, wearing a golden crown, holding a golden orb. A European map made in Spain featuring an African king as the most prominent figure in all of Africa, because even Europe, who wanted to believe Africa had nothing, could not ignore Mansa Musa. His fame had reached everywhere. The richest man who ever lived accidentally inspired the event that would eventually destroy the continent he loved. Let me bring you back to where I started. A lot of people saying Africa is poor, but if you know about Mansa Musa, you can never believe that Africa has always been poor. And some people didn't want to know that. They definitely don't want to know that. Anyway, that's the end of the video. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button, subscribe, like the video, share it to your friends and family, because this type of stories doesn't exist in our textbooks. And share it to your friends and family. That's it.